Nothing, there's absolutely no evidence that either Mountbatten or Rajaji was involved in this in any way. That I think has been just a piece of fiction. Hinduism, political Hinduism actually, that's what they're talking about. So it fits into that narrative.
You have held a press conference today and you are trying to give out information exactly about what happened. What happened about this transfer of power and did Sengol play an important role in it?
I'm interested in it as a student of history, as somebody interested in history. That's my first interest. And secondly, as a journalist. So what happened is, there's quite a lot of evidence now, because the government claimed, or those working on behalf of the government claimed, that it signified that the presentation of the Sengol, the so-called golden scepter, which is 5 feet high, symbolized and sanctified the transfer of power, and that had some kind of official status. That is what we looked at. What actually, and then they said that Mountbatten was involved, Sri Rajagopalachari, the first and second governors general, they were involved. Nothing, there's absolutely no evidence that either Mountbatten or Rajaji was involved in this in any way. That I think has been just a piece of fiction. What is established is, through photographs and reports, that on the 14th of August 1947, probably around 10 p.m., because there's an advertisement in the Hindu given by the Adinam mentioning that detail, that at 10 p.m. they gave, a Sengol was presented by a delegation of the Thiruvavudurai Adinam to Jawaharlal Nehru at his home. That is all that is known, and it is clear that it was one of the many gifts given by well-wishers on the achievement of, on the victory that the freedom struggle had achieved, and it was going to be a transfer of power, which happened at midnight, on midnight of 14th and 15th August. That's all is known. All the rest is fiction. The point is, the presentation of the Sengol, a private gift by the Adinam to Nehru, which he received, was one of many gifts, and it had no role in the ceremonies or in the official conduct of the transfer of power. The transfer of power was regulated by the Indian Independence Act, passed by the British Parliament. And the transfer of the independence was achieved on the 15th. Not only for India, but for Pakistan also, because that's in the Act. Although Pakistan claims today that it's 14th of August 1947. The transfer was enacted the moment Jawaharlal Nehru was sworn in as the Prime Minister of the Dominion of India, still not a republic, by Mountbatten as the Viceroy. And after that he ceased to be Viceroy, and at the invitation of the Indian leaders, he became the first Governor General of the Dominion of India, and then he was followed by C. Rajagopalachari as the second Governor General. And after India became a republic, after the Constitution was promulgated, then Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the first President of India, and Nehru was also the Prime Minister. These are the facts.
So we are asking you this because it was the Home Minister who said Mountbatten was involved, Rajaji was involved. So when you call it as a fiction, what proof do you have to say that these are fictions? Mountbatten's involvement was not there and Rajaji's involvement was not there.
Because there's no evidence. We go by evidence. And had Mountbatten been involved, a huge amount of literature on Mountbatten, his own recollections, his lecture, the second Nehru Memorial Lecture given at Trinity College, Cambridge, in 1968. I have a copy of that lecture. It's about the transfer of power in Nehru and biographies of Mountbatten, his daughter's book, and so on. None of them mentions anything about this presentation of this, the golden scepter or the Sengol. So there's no evidence. As for Rajagopalachari, there's zero evidence again, because the biographers of Rajaji, in particular Rajmohan Gandhi, his grandson and principal biographer, they have made it clear we have never come across anything. So you can say anything, but you need evidence in history to back it up. That's why we say that it not only lacks evidence, it's been made up, because it didn't figure in the contemporary records at all. None of the records, including the advertisement, which I have here, and all kinds of false details have been added, that a special flight was arranged. No, they left by train from the central station. There's a picture here, who left at the central station. This is an advertisement given by the Adinam, published in the Hindu. on 29th of August.
As a university journalist, why do you think this was made up then?
It's made up for reasons the only Hindutva leaders and proponents can explain. But we think that it's part of the narrative that India is a Hindu nation, that there must be primacy of Hinduism here. Hinduism, political Hinduism actually, that's what they're talking about. So it fits into that narrative, and people here have made some inputs which play into that. I read reports and my commentators that this is with an eye to getting some mileage in Tamil Nadu from the Adinams, from the OBCs and so on. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference or any material difference. Yeah, but the story has been long in the making, last 3 or 4 years, I think, in Tamil Nadu, because we know that the stories have been put about, articles have appeared. I don't want to name any individuals here. It's unnecessary, but a certain narrative has been, a fictionalized narrative has been constructed. And they say that the then Kanchi Sankaracharya, known as Paramacharya, told a disciple. What did he tell the disciple? It's quite possible that he said that this was presented, and then they found out that Ummadi Bangaru Chetty had it manufactured. We don't know whose idea it was at that time. But they wanted to go. It's one of the hundreds and probably thousands of gifts that Indian leaders got at the time of transfer of power.
One final question, sir. BJP leader, including Annamalai and those who support him, claim that this should be taken as only something that celebrates the concept of Tamil Nadu and something has gone from there. Do you think that way in a democracy, a Sengol being celebrated?
It celebrates the concept of monarchy, which is where the Indian constitution is antithetical to that. We may take pride in the history of the Cholas and so on, but we don't want to emulate that kind of autocracy or waging war against neighboring kingdoms, whether it's the Pandyas or Cheras or Sri Lanka, Ceylon in those days, Elam, and so on. So we don't celebrate those things. We study history critically. We don't apply current standards to the assessment of historical personages or epochs. Otherwise, many of the things that occurred in history cannot be justified, including genocide, including killing of women, children, etc. But what we take pride in is the cultural achievement and their administrative system, the irrigation, and so on. Not the Sengol, the ceremony. That was part of their tradition. Many of them, the Chola kings were Saivites, and the Adinams claim to have been built on to celebrate that and so on. We don't have to celebrate monarchy. The whole idea of Indian independence was get rid of monarchy, get rid of foreign rule and get rid of monarchy.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. So that was N. Ram, who clearly states that what happened on 1947, 14th and 15th, and he says that there are no evidence about involvement of Mountbatten or Rajaji regarding the Sengol.
लेकिन टेंशन मत लीजिए, जब तक व्हाट्सएप में गुड मॉर्निंग भेजने की सुविधा है तब तक आपको कुछ नहीं होगा, मैं गारंटी देता हूं।